Nick Cassidy, pressure is on. At the final sector is going to be where the proof will be for Nick Cassidy as he comes across the timing line. Does he improve as the checkered flag is out? And he doesn't. He stays sixth fastest. Championship leader Nick Cassidy is out of qualifying in Group A.
Cassidy down to 8th.
Loses a bit of time. Verne improves, but only 9th fastest. Gunter currently slowest in the session. Hughes improves and stays in the duels, then goes to the top of the mile by 0.02 of a second. As the checkered flag is now out, Caio Collet will finish 7th in his first ever Formula E qualifying session. What about Sasha Fenestraz? Needs to out-qualify his teammate and doesn't do so by a couple of hundredths of a second. Nick de Vries, as we saw, fastest in that first sector. Loses time, though, in the second and third as he comes over the line 11th quickest. Pascal Wehrlein, though, hasn't made it. He is out of qualifying in the group stages. He will not go through into the dual stages here in Portland. Up first, it's Lucas de Grassi versus Mitch Evans. We've got Edo Mortara. He'll go head-to-head with Jake Hughes. Then it's Robin Freitz, Antonio Felix da Costa, Norman Nato and Dan Tickton. Lucas de Grassi versus Mitch Evans up first of all. Over the timing line comes the Brazilian driver. It's going to be a 109.357. Is Evans going to have the advantage? He certainly is. 3.5 tenths as he comes then to break the beam. It's going to be into the 108 this one, and indeed it is a 108.974 for Mitch Evans. Quarterfinal 2 then, Eduardo Mortara versus Jake Hughes. He's gone off, he's gone wide, had rear instability going through turn 10 and 11, and the lap time has gone away for Edo Mortara. And across the timing line, Jake Hughes comfortably will then go through. Quarterfinal 3 then, Robin Freitz versus Antonio Felix da Costa. Here is where we saw things go wrong for Edo Mortara a few minutes ago.
Oh, he's
wide though for da Costa. That could cost him a bit of time possibly here, and the stewards might be having a look at that for track limits possibly as well. Out of the final quarter, it's going to be very close here between these two drivers. Da Costa versus Freitz, and Freitz has done it then. Da Costa chucks it away. Well, what about quarterfinal 4? Norman Nato versus Dan Tickton. Nato comes over the line. It's a 109 flat, so not the quickest time that we've seen so far, but a pretty handy lap time nonetheless. Tickton there, you can see him scrubbing speed off. He's picked up a bit of time in that final sector, so it's certainly not over here for Dan Tickton versus Norman Nato. As we come, though, to the line, he's just going to miss out by under 1/10 of a second. So it's Evans versus Hughes in semi-final 1, then Norman Nato versus Robin Freitz in semi-final 2. Flicking it through to the left-hander, the rear looking a little bit floaty and a bit light there for Mitch Evans. Slightly more planted, if anything, for Jake Hughes. Out of the final corner we go, though. It's all going to be out the run to the line between Mitch Evans and Jake Hughes as they come to the checkered flag then. Mitch Evans then does go forwards into the finals. Semi-final 2 then, Norman Nato versus Robin Freitz. Long time ago, oh, but he's chucked it away in that first corner. A big snap of oversteer. As Nato comes over the line, a 108.810. So not the fastest time overall that we've seen so far here today, but not far away at all. Freitz has picked up, again, time in that second and third sector, but ultimately it is not going to be enough for the Dutchman to depose Norman Nato. So it will be Norman Nato, who's not had a pole position so far this season, who'll go head-to-head with Mitch Evans in the finals. Find your braking point and head in towards turn 1. Get the car rotated. Couple of bites of the cherry there.
Yeah, a little bit tentative from Mitch Evans there on the way down into turn 1 and that heavy braking zone that we've got there. First sector from Norman Nato, not quite as good as what he did in the semi-final, but still a strong first start to the lap for him.
26.7 then for Norman Nato is the time in the first sector. We wait for Mitch Evans as he makes his way through. You can see him there, bottom right-hand corner of the screen. Yeah, he's lost a little bit of time, just about 1/10 of a second or so over Norman Nato, but will he be able to extract more out of the car in the second and third sector? Turns 10 and 11, this is where we've seen mistakes being made. He throws it into that left-hander in the right. Car looks good.
That's nicer by Nato, definitely. But look at the time of Evans in that middle sector. It's nearly 2.5 tenths quicker.
Evans has gathered up a lot of time in this second sector then. Nato comes to the timing line to break the beam. It's a 109 flat. It's certainly not the fastest time we've seen. Mitch Evans on an absolute flyer, ready to try and take 3 points and pole position this afternoon here in Portland. He comes to the timing line. Is it pole number 2 of 2024? It certainly is. Mitch Evans and Jaguar TCS Racing have done it here in Portland. 3 points on the board, closing that deficit down to Pascal Wehrlein in the championship as well.